They said it was just a quiet flight. They said it was a routine departure. They said nothing unusual happened that night. But the footage tells a completely different story, because what leaked out of the private terminal at Los Angeles International Airport is not a vacation exit. It is a scene that looks ripped straight out of a crime thriller. 7 massive suitcases, a midnight cargo zone, a K-9 dog that refuses to move, and a fortune that allegedly vanished without a wire transfer, without a trace, except on camera. This isn't rumor layered on rumor. This is surveillance. Time-stamped, grainy, cold, unforgiving. And according to the leaked security material, it captures Meghan Markle overseeing something far bigger than luggage. The timestamp locks it in 11:42 p.m., not the VIP passenger entrance, not the lounge. The cargo loading zone. That detail alone sets off alarms. Why would a duchess allegedly traveling privately load bags through freight instead of the discreet passenger bay? According to the footage, a blacked out SUV rolls up to the tarmac. The rear door opens, and one by one, 7 identical oversized hard shell suitcases are dragged out. Not rolled, dragged. You can see the strain. You can see the hesitation. One case slips from the handler's grip and hits the concrete, and it doesn't bounce. It lands with a dull, heavy thud. The kind of sound that suggests density, not fabric. Sources reviewing the footage say that moment made everyone watching go silent, because clothes don't land like that. Now comes the math, and this is where the story turns unsettling. According to claims in the leaked material, approximately $12 million had been reported missing from joint accounts connected to Prince Harry. Cash, not digital transfers. When analysts break down what that amount weighs in physical currency, the numbers line up chillingly well with what appears on screen. Divide that sum across 7 suitcases, and suddenly the visual strain, the awkward lifting, the dead weight drop, it all starts to fit. But the most damning moment doesn't involve the bags. It involves the dog. At approximately 11:48 p.m., routine security sweeps are underway nearby. A K-9 handler walks a German Shepherd past the cargo line. According to airport protocol, these dogs aren't just trained for explosives or narcotics. At major international hubs, some are trained to detect currency residue, the chemical signature left by large volumes of cash. As the handler passes the 3rd suitcase, the dog stops. No barking, no aggression, it sits. That is a passive alert. I found something. The handler tugs the leash, the dog doesn't move. The handler tries again. The dog locks in harder, staring at the trolley holding the 7 black cases. And then someone steps into frame. A man in a suit, believed to be private security, flashes a badge or document. The exchange is tense, no smiles, no casual body language. The handler looks from the document to the dog, back to the suitcases, and then physically pulls the animal away. That moment is where everything changes. Because if the dog alerted to currency and that alert was overridden, then according to federal law, that alone raises the specter of bulk cash smuggling. Undeclared cash movements over $10,000 are not minor violations, they are felonies. And the footage doesn't end there. The camera pans wider. Standing near the cargo bay is Meghan herself. Not relaxed, not seated, not detached. She is pacing, hovering, watching every bag as it's loaded. At one point, she reaches out and touches one of the suitcases, checking the lock. Her posture is rigid. Her head snaps repeatedly toward the entrance gates. Sources analyzing the body language say this isn't the demeanor of someone shipping clothes, it's the posture of someone guarding something irreplaceable. If those bags contain nothing but dresses, assistants would be handling it. If it were ordinary luggage, she'd be inside. Instead, she is supervising the freight, which raises the question no one at the airport wanted to ask out loud that night: what was she afraid of losing? According to the leaked narrative, gathering that much physical cash isn't something that happens overnight. Banks don't hand out millions in bills on demand. It allegedly requires structuring, small withdrawals over time, or access to specialized private vault services, which leads to the next chilling implication. This wasn't spontaneous. If the allegations are accurate, this was planned quietly, patiently over months, while public appearances continued, while projects were announced, while the narrative remained carefully polished. And now the destination. The flight path reportedly pointed toward Dubai, a global financial hub with very different rules, very different enforcement thresholds, and very different extradition realities. If undeclared cash left left the United States and entered another jurisdiction, the legal consequences multiply. And if declarations weren't made on either end, the situation escalates from scandal to international liability. Back in California, insiders claim the security staff who witnessed the event were shaken. One alleged source described the atmosphere as cinematic, saying everyone sensed something was wrong, but no one wanted to be the person who stopped it. Because titles intimidate. Because influence freezes people, because authority often goes unchallenged when it wears a familiar face. And then there's Harry. Imagine recognizing those suitcases. Imagine realizing the numbers add up. Imagine watching a dog alert and knowing what that means. If the allegations are true, this footage doesn't just show luggage leaving a country, it shows a marriage fracturing in real time, a financial reality collapsing, and a public image cracking under the weight of something far more tangible than rumors. 7 suitcases, a sitting dog, a midnight cargo bay, and according to the leaked material, this was only the beginning. What happened on that tarmac didn't end when the plane lifted off. According to sources familiar with the leak, the footage was only half the story, because once security analysts slowed the video frame by frame, something else emerged. Something far more explosive than suitcases or a K-9 alert. Audio, faint, distorted, buried under jet engines and wind, but not gone. Specialists reportedly isolated a moment when the K-9 handler stopped the cart. The background noise dips just enough for a voice to cut through. Not calm, not composed, not confused. 3 words. Fix this now, not a question, not concern, a command. According to those who reviewed the clip, the voice is unmistakably Meghan's. And that phrase, fix this, changes everything. Because innocent people ask what's happening. Innocent people look to security for explanations. They don't demand solutions. In high-risk operations, fix it doesn't mean clarify. It means override. It means remove the obstacle. And moments later, the obstacle, the dog, is forcibly pulled away. That, sources say, is where intent allegedly becomes visible. Then there's the second figure. Standing near the SUV, half hidden in shadow, is a woman holding a clipboard or manifest. She doesn't look frantic. She doesn't look confused. She looks prepared, professional, focused. According to online investigators and chatter sparked by the screenshots, facial recognition allegedly flagged her as a forensic financial specialist, someone whose career revolves around asset protection, offshore structuring, and financial disappearance. Not celebrity PR, not lifestyle management, money movement. And that detail, if true, reframes the entire scene. Because now this isn't just luggage being loaded, it's logistics being executed. Sources claim this woman had been seen before, quietly around the Montecito property. Introduced allegedly as a wealth consultant, helping streamline foundations and philanthropic efforts. Papers signed, trust given. And if those claims hold, then the betrayal wasn't external. It was internal. The theory laid out by those dissecting the leak is chilling. Money didn't vanish overnight. It didn't disappear in one dramatic transfer. It allegedly moved slowly, disguised as vendor payments, consulting fees, production expenses, dripped into shell entities, converted into cash, stored brick by brick. Which brings investigators back to the 7 suitcases. 7 identical cases, 7 identical weights, 7 identical locks. Not random, not last minute, purpose built. According to financial analysts weighing in, pulling that amount of physical cash without triggering alarms would require structuring, thousands of smaller withdrawals, or access to institutions willing to look away. Either way, it suggests planning measured in months, not hours. And now the flight itself. The aircraft wasn't commercial, it was a private charter registered through layered holding companies. According to aviation trackers, the ownership trail leads through jurisdictions famous for opacity, flags of convenience, paper companies, legal fog, and somewhere between California and the Middle East, the story allegedly shifted again. Sources claim the plane was flagged once it entered European airspace, not grounded immediately, but watched quietly, carefully. A decision point formed at altitude. Continue onward and risk international seizure later, or divert and face scrutiny immediately. According to chatter circulating among aviation watchers, the pilot chose survival. The jet reportedly altered course and descended onto military-controlled ground, a move that strips away diplomatic ambiguity. No VIP lounges, no private terminals, no discretion, floodlights, uniforms, evidence protocols. At that point, sources say the suitcases were no longer luggage, they were exhibits. Back in London, the reaction was reportedly swift and cold. Palace insiders claim emergency consultations were held as soon as the manifest details surfaced, because this wasn't just embarrassing, it was dangerous. Allegations of using diplomatic documents without authorization don't stay personal. They trigger state-to-state consequences. And when lines blur between private citizens and royal privilege, institutions move fast to protect themselves. According to reports, royal web pages were altered, language changed, distances formalized. The message was subtle but unmistakable. This is not ours anymore. The shield thinned. Meanwhile, Harry, those close to him describe a man watching his reality collapse in delayed waves. First confusion, then disbelief, then recognition. Seeing the footage, seeing the dog, seeing the bags, and then the message. Allegedly sent just after takeoff. A photo from inside the jet. City lights shrinking below. 4 words attached, the debt is paid. That phrase has ignited speculation across legal and media circles. Paid to whom? For what? And who decided the amount? Some interpret it as justification, others as provocation. Either way, it reads less like closure and more like declaration. As investigators dig deeper, attention has reportedly turned to production budgets and streaming contracts, failed projects, inflated invoices, companies that exist only on paper, money that left one ledger and never returned. If those threads connect, the implications widen dramatically, touching corporations, accountants, pilots, and officials who may or may not have known what they were facilitating. And that's the most unsettling part. This story isn't just about one flight, it's about how far influence can stretch before it snaps, about how authority can silence questions until a dog sits down and refuses to move. Dogs don't care about titles, they don't recognize status, they respond to scent, to substance, to truth. 7 suitcases, a midnight tarmac, a passive alert that wouldn't go away. According to the leaked material, this wasn't an escape, it was an exposure. And as the legal machinery allegedly begins to grind, subpoenas, audits, statements, one thing is clear to everyone watching this unravel: whatever was packed into those bags was heavy enough to bring everything down.